What's up, you guys? Welcome to another video. We are doing a Q&A today, as you guys know from the title, obviously. I actually was surprised with the amount of questions that came in, so I'm gonna try to go through them quickly so that I could attempt to get through all of them, but I'm gonna try my best. Let's get into the video. First question says, I'm a stay-at-home mom too. How do you find being a stay-at-home mom? Do you enjoy it or not? So in short, yes, I definitely enjoy being a stay-at-home mom. It was a choice of mine even before I became a mom. I just knew that I wanted to stay at home with my kids full time, be the one to care for them, raise them, all that stuff. I feel like just in general, that's the way it was supposed to be, parents raising their own kids. So yeah, I enjoy it. I love every part of it. It's difficult. Most of the time it is difficult, but I really do enjoy it. I love cooking for my kids. I love teaching my kids. I love not ever missing a milestone, because I'm here all the time. So I love it. I love being a stay-at-home mom, and I would never, ever want to change that. What are your hobbies? Jeez. I have a lot of hobbies. I'm a person that loves to just like dabble into different things. During the season of motherhood and young children, I don't get a chance to do all of the things that I love doing. I do love cooking. That's something that I do a lot. I love finding new recipes, trying new things. Even if I go to a restaurant, like a lot of times I want to come home and try making that same exact dish. Gardening is something that just makes me feel good. I don't know, like gardening, I just, from start to finish, like it's something that I take so much pride in. Like I get so excited to see my fruit and my vegetables and my flowers grow and know that I'm the one that nurtured that and poured into that. So I do love gardening. It's a lot of work, but I never consider it a burden. What else do I like to do? I love creating. So I love doing DIY stuff. Any sort of DIY project, like I love doing those sorts of things. I think I'm just a person in general that likes to create, that likes to see something build from the ground up, and yeah, just get creative. Like I'm just that type of person. I like to challenge myself to new things and conquer it. Even if I don't care to do it again, like I just love to see the result of things that I poured into, What did you do career-wise before having a family? Okay, so here's the journey in short. When I was around 18, from 18 years old to maybe 25, somewhere around there, I worked at Costco. So I worked at Costco part-time while also going to school. Once I graduated Costco. Once I graduated college, so I got a bachelor's degree in sociology. My plan with that was to get into social work. I wanted to work with kids. I hate using the word delinquent, but like troubled youth. Like that was something that I felt like I was passionate about at that time. So I wanted to get into that and help kids, Right after college, like immediately after college, I got a job working with kids on probation, and I was a counselor, to those kids on probation. I did that for about maybe 2 years, maybe a year and a half to 2 years, and decided I was ready to become a mom. So after that discussion with my husband and everything, we decided, now's the time, to quit. So I quit my job and started a family. It didn't happen right away, but that's pretty much how that went. Tips on how to start content creation or how I schedule my content. I post 4 times a week. Well, at least the plan is to post 4 times a week on Instagram, and then YouTube 1 time a week as far as long videos, and then short videos daily. I think your schedule is important based on your audience and your content. I don't think everyone needs to post every day. Some people may post 2 times a week and that may work for them and their audience, and some people may need to post every single day. That's just something that I believe you have to determine for yourself and what works for you, because you don't want to be someone who's consistent posting every single day but then your content is trash, like you're just throwing something up. I post every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday on Instagram, and then some days I miss depending on what's going on in life, because life happens. Tips that I would give for someone who's starting content creation: being consistent, making sure you know exactly what it is you want to bring forth to the platform as far as your value goes. I feel like some people just start and they don't really know exactly the audience they're aiming for. So I feel like I would recommend you like really just deciding what is it that you feel is your value, like what do you offer, and then go from there. Start planning your content ahead of time, start shooting your content ahead of time, even before you start your page or whatever that is, because that's really important. You could really lose people when one day you're posting about a car and then the next day you're posting about a meal you cooked. So it's just, you really got to dial down on your niche. There's just so many tips. This is a really just a broad topic when it comes to content creation. Like, it's just really important to always be engaging, commenting on people's things, being on the app, scrolling. That's the thing that takes a lot of my time, is engaging. Like, it takes hours and hours and hours every single day just engaging, because if you post and you leave, Instagram will not reward you for that. So there's just a lot. But yeah, if you have more questions about content creation, definitely DM me on Instagram. And I'm more than happy to help and talk about that. How do you handle being overwhelmed if you get overwhelmed being a homemaker? First and foremost, definitely get overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is an understatement. Let's just put it that way. There is just a lot that goes on every single day in this household. Okay. So yes, I do get overwhelmed. I feel like sometimes on my platforms, it doesn't come off as though I get overwhelmed and I have a hard time and I'm struggling and yada, yada, yada. But I have a lot of those days. I have a lot of days where I'm struggling. I'm like ready to break down. I'm ready to cry, whatever the case is. Like, that happens quite often. How I handle it, I need to start my day being in my word, prayer, all that stuff. Me and God need to connect every single day, because the days that I don't, I notice it. It's like night and day. It really is. So starting my day off with the Lord, making sure I'm eating. Hangry is obviously a thing, but like when you're hungry and your kids are nagging you and you have X, Y, and Z to do and you're all over the place doing things for everybody else and you're hungry, recipe for disaster. So I try to make sure right after my devotion time, even before my coffee in the morning, that I'm eating. Like, when I'm fueled, I'm better. I have energy. I'm not hungry. I'm able to give more, because food is fuel. Taking things one at a time. Us moms, we have a lot that's on our plate. And I know it's easier said than done to say, take it one step at a time. It's hard, but I feel like that is the very thing that gets me to accomplish what I intend to accomplish in the day. Because when I'm focusing on, okay, right now, I'm going to make everyone breakfast. And then after that, I'm going to wash the load of laundry. And then after that, I'm going to do, instead of thinking about all these things all at once that you have to do, because you tend to spend more time thinking about all that you have to do instead of doing it, So that helps me. And also just being slow-minded, and that doesn't sound right, slow-minded. Trying to take things slow. Whenever I just move with intention and try to focus on the task that I'm doing in that moment and clear my head, I feel like I am more productive. I feel like I'm more at peace. And I don't get overwhelmed. But it's one of those things that I have to consciously think about and tell myself, like, slow down, Shanice, don't rush. Just do this right now. Constantly talking to myself, and it helps. It really helps. How do you manage home life and content creation? So this one kind of ties into the last two that I answered. Taking things a step at a time, having designated days for designated things. Obviously, life does happen, especially with kids. Sometimes one week looks different from the next, and what I try to do is have days where I'm focusing on content creation, or days where I'm focusing on the house, cleaning the house, or days where I'm focusing on groceries and meal planning and, all that stuff. Obviously, dinner runs every single day, meals run every day. But when I think about the bulk of what that day looks like, for instance, Wednesdays, I do a lot of content creation. I do a lot of editing. I do a lot of filming. On Fridays, I try to be more intentional about the home and what's, what needs to be done within my home. So every single day looks different, but I do feel like scheduling, making to-do lists, and going about things in the order of priority really helped me to manage it all. But it ain't easy. It really is not easy. How to keep a positive attitude while homemaking and homeschooling. So this is something that I am trying to grow through. I've grown a lot, but I'm not there yet. I have a long way to go. Homeschooling in itself is a lot, especially when dealing with three little ones who are on three different pages, literally. And then homemaking, those things are important to me, making sure my kids are getting healthy, whole food meals, serving my family. Those things are just very important to me. So trying to do all of those things simultaneously is an art. It takes lots of practice. It takes lots of learning and trial and error and figuring out what works best for you. I don't think anybody has ever got it right the first time. I still don't have it right, but again, I try to prioritize. When it comes to homeschooling, I try to do things on a schedule. We don't homeschool every single day, so I try to stick to maybe an every other day schedule. Sometimes I miss that every other day, and other things take priority. And I try to give myself grace and know that my kids are learning daily, even if we don't do homeschooling. Sometimes instead of me tending to them for homeschooling, I give them an iPad and they do an educational app. It's not ideal. It's not what I want to do, but sometimes that's what I need to do in that moment when a content piece is due and I need to get to that right then and there, or else I'm gonna miss a deadline. I just think sometimes we just have to be flexible and just choose what's important in that moment and not sweat it so much, not be too worried about what we didn't get to and what we didn't do, and just try to go from there, and I don't always have a positive attitude. I mean, I'm human. We all are human. But again, starting my day off in my word and in prayer is really, really helpful for keeping my mind in a positive space. And one of my goals this year was being optimistic and focusing on what's positive and even the most like absurd, irritating situations, and it really helps. It has helped me because I'm someone who's very nitpicky. I could focus on the things that are not right and be so consumed by it. So I've really been like retraining myself and my thoughts when it comes to that and just focusing on what's positive. And it really, really, really does a tremendous difference on the way I treat my kids, the way I treat my husband, the way I feel, like it really makes a big impact, But I mean, as far as like attitude goes, like throw on some tunes, throw on some music. That always helps liven up the mood, and, getting your kids up and dancing, while you're trying to cook or whatever, and holding off on homeschool until another hour. I think those things always help to create a positive mentality and mental state. How profitable has your YouTube channel journey been thus far? I mean, I'm blessed. I am grateful because it's a penny more than I'd had before I started YouTube. But I will say it has been not as profitable. Like I make my money on Instagram. That is my income. That is my source of income. Right now, YouTube is just kind of like change, and being fully transparent, I will say up until this point, I've been consistently making like $100 and something a month on YouTube. Not a lot, especially for how much work goes into YouTube. But again, I'm grateful. It's extra money. That is help with groceries for a week. I'm blessed, but I will say you can't go into YouTube off top thinking you're about to make all sorts of money. Like that's not where it's at. What is the one food you will not eat? Hot dogs. I don't like hot dogs. Hot dogs are nasty. They're just nasty. They stink. They're, who knows what's in them? You know what I mean? Like, who knows what's in them? They're just cased up nonsense. That's the way I see it. But I stopped eating hot dogs when I was like a little kid. Like, I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, where I was like, I don't like this. But I can't stand hot dogs. And ironically enough, I can't stand ketchup. Ketchup is just, for one, it ain't tomatoes. I don't care what nobody says. Like, ketchup is its own situation. Tomatoes taste one way and ketchup tastes another way. It smells, it stinks. I do not like ketchup. I don't know what it is, but I don't. It's just not good. It is not, and I don't understand how anybody loves it. This is a good question. What area do you hope to grow most in your faith? What area do I hope to grow in most in my faith? This, I can give a lot of areas. I want to pray more. I want to pray more. I find myself praying during certain situations. Like, it's very habitual for me to pray with my girls at night. It's very habitual for me to pray right before I'm about to dive into my Bible. It's very habitual for us to pray as a family when we're eating dinner. But when it comes to like if I'm having a hard day, or if I'm struggling, if I'm overwhelmed, if my kids are driving me nuts, a lot of times I don't break into prayer. And I want that to be my priority. Like, when I'm in a negative headspace, I want to be like, okay, Shanice, it's time to go pray. And I tend to not do that. I tend to either let my emotions just go, or I try to deal with it on my own, which sometimes doesn't work out. But I definitely want to pray more. I want to grow when it comes to patience. I want to have a lot more patience. I want to not be so affected. Like, for instance, if my kids walk and they flip up my rug with their foot, I don't want to be irritated by that. I just want to stop being bothered by the smallest of things. That's all. Oh, this is an interesting question. It says, do you feel you're happiest at your current weight? I say this with lots of love and respect. Not offended at all by this question. I will answer in short, no, I'm not. Like, if I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm not happy with my weight right now. I'm not happy with the way my body is, but I'm also not unhappy. Does that make sense? Because on the positive, I feel very grateful to look this way and to feel this way after having 3 kids. But on the negative, and I don't really consider this a negative, but I'm just someone who's very critical of myself and very hard on myself and very, I guess that is negative, huh? I just have a high standard and I have a high bar for myself. Like, I set a high bar for myself and I know I could do better. I don't want to be content in things that I don't need to be content in. I think contentment is very good and we should be content. But when it comes to my health and when it comes to the way I am with my kids, when it comes to just my habits, it's like I always want to grow. I never want to be stagnant on growth. So when it comes to my weight, I'm not someone who's going to starve myself, to get my weight down. But I do want to eat better and to be healthier and to work out more, to be healthier and to have a healthier body weight. Right now, I don't feel like I have my healthiest body weight. I hope that makes sense. I feel like this is a very sensitive topic when people start talking about body image and weight and everything. And while I don't look at myself in a negative way, I also know that I could do better. I hope that makes sense. Y'all came through with questions. How do you make friends / find community as a homemaker? Honestly, I haven't made a new friend in a very, very long time. It's actually quite sad. But on the contrary, I feel like I don't have enough time to nurture new friendships. I'm already struggling to spend time with the ones that I do have, which is also sad. But yeah, I just feel like I don't have the capacity to even have more friends, and it's not that I don't want any new friends, because I say all the time, like, I wish I had friends in my neighborhood, that we could easily just go to the park, and take our kids there or whatever. But when it comes to me leaving the house, having a girls' day or whatever, it's like I feel like I'm just so busy and so consumed with home life, work life, and just balancing that all that I don't have a lot of time for my friends. And that's something that I want to do better with. I've been doing better, I will say, with trying to prioritize that because, those people are important to me. But yeah, it's one of those things that's difficult because I'm always home. If I had a lot more time, like if I had a lot of downtime, I feel like I would be involved with a lot of things outside of this home. But yeah, it's one of those things that I'm not good at. And I'm an introvert. Who do I admire and look up to? I admire my grandmother. She has always been someone who I've always looked up to. I feel like she's a very wise woman. Yeah. And then she's been through a lot. She's had a life that has taught her a lot. And whenever she speaks about her experiences, I'm always like, ears wide open, and I admire my grandmother. We call her Granny. Do you plan on having more kids? I got this question. This was actually a really popular question. A lot of you guys asked if we want more kids. I will say yes, I want more kids. I just want to be in a position where I have a lot more help because I already have a hard time juggling what's going on now, and to add another kid into the equation, one, wouldn't be fair to my kids, and two, I will be overwhelmed. I will be really going through it because right now I don't have extra time. I don't even have extra time for myself right now. Things would have to change. You guys know my goal to get my husband to stay home, quit his job, and we do social media full time. That's the goal. So if we get there, then yes, I am more than open to growing this family. How do me and my husband plan to raise our girls? The intent of the question, she says, meaning career women, homemakers, or will you let them decide? First, priority is always raise them up to love the Lord, to love our Lord and Savior. They will know God. And I pray that they never depart from that. So that is first and foremost. As long as they are God-fearing women, I feel like I have succeeded in life of raising children. That is the goal. When it comes to their goals and aspirations in life, I want them to have lived a life from a very young age of exploring and finding out what their hobbies are and finding out what they love. And that is one of the reasons why we homeschool, because I want them to be so well-rounded in one, knowledge, but also skills, that they are at a very early age able to decide what they want to do with that, what they want to get into. Because that's one of the things that I feel was kind of robbed from me. I feel like I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do until I had already graduated college, and I have completely different passions now because I'm learning new things, that I kind of sourced myself with. So I want them to learn what it is that they're passionate about, what it is they're good at, their hobbies, all those things. And if they decide to be an entrepreneur or a homemaker or a businesswoman, whatever they want, truly. Why do you use a veil? I'm assuming you're talking about the scarves that I wear a lot. I guess it looks like a bit, I don't know. I always just thought it was a scarf, but I just wear it as an accessory. I like wearing accessories on my head. I almost put it on today, but I was like, you know what? I always wear those things. I wear them all the time, and I'm trying to give it a break. But I just like them. It also helps when my hair is not put together. I could throw that on and look halfway decent, There's no meaning behind it. I just like them. What do you do for yourself to fill your cup? I'm a very simple person. I don't need very big things. I don't need to go get my hair done or get my nails done and go to spa days and facials and all that stuff. That doesn't do it for me. Honestly, that's something that I actually don't like because I hate waiting on people. I hate making appointments. I just don't like it. I know that is some people's thing, but for me, I like just a simple, quiet day. Sometimes my husband takes the kids outside of the house to the park or whatever, and he'll be gone all day. And that right there is enough for me to feel fueled, because it's like the house is quiet. I can do what I want. I don't have to do something for someone. And that day I could do for me, you know? And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes just silence is enough for me, being left with my thoughts. I also like to take nice hot baths with a nice book, with a glass of wine, and just relax. You know, I like relaxing. That fills me up, relaxing. And also having takeout for my family some days. That helps fill me up, you know, because as much as I do love cooking, sometimes I want a break from it. Those are the things that help me out. Just silence, a little peace of mind, a little relaxation. Sometimes maybe a little outing with my girls if I go to my sister's house and we get together, you know. Very simple things helps me to feel fueled. But I will say a lot of those things take place because of my husband. If I didn't have my husband taking care of the kids and giving me the opportunity to leave and, you know, do all those things, I wouldn't have that. So I'm very grateful for my husband. Y'all, this is about to be a long video. I think I have maybe 2 more questions. We're gonna see how this goes. Have you ever internally struggled with being the work from home homemaker as a wife? Yes. I feel like we all have at some point, because it is hard. Like every single one of those roles is about giving, you know? So I feel like in itself, that can be very draining, feeling like you're always doing for everybody from sunrise to sundown, you know? I feel like, and particularly I struggle more with that when I feel like I'm not being respected. Obviously my kids, they are kids. So even if they appreciate something, they don't really show it, you know, in the best of ways. But I think when things pile up, like if I'm just finished cleaning the kitchen or cleaning some part of the house, and someone with no regard for what I just did comes and leaves X, Y, and Z all over, I mean, the initial reaction, the initial feeling is to feel irritated. It is irritating, you know. I struggled with that a lot a few years ago. I'm getting so much better. I think my husband could vouch for that, because what's important is how I make my kids and my husband feel within their own home. My husband said it himself. I used to make him feel like he walked on eggshells in his own home. And that hit me because, ew. You know, like how unfair of me to do something like that. Like, this is not just my home. And although I thrive in a clean space, it's not just my space. You know, I have my areas, my bedroom, the kitchen. Those are the areas where I'm like, I need this to be up to par. Everywhere else, I try to be a lot more relaxed and just let the house be what it is. And toward the end of the day, just clean it up. And I feel like that gives me a lot more peace. And, you know, just having the goal of making sure my family is happy. That's the ultimate goal, I believe, as a homemaker, is how are you making your family feel? Like, I could do my part and keep this house spick and span and looking beautiful and these delicious meals cooked, but then my family's up in here all miserable. Like that's a lose. I think that's what keeps me driven. What was the question? Have I struggled with being the work? Okay, so yes, in short, yes, but what helps me is looking at what's most important. What is most important? And that's me making sure my husband is happy and satisfied and my kids are thriving and happy. You know, that's the goal. What advice would you give a mom who wants to start a workout routine but doesn't have the energy or time to do it? Okay, first, I'm gonna be real straightforward. You make time for what's important to you. You know? I just think we make time for what's important to us. There's always time to squeeze in 30 minutes of working out, you know, whether that's early in the morning, whether that's during a kid's nap, whether that's after work, whether that's when you put the kids down to bed, you know, there's always time. I started working out right after high school. Like when I stopped playing sports, I wanted to stay active, got a gym membership, because it was my priority. When I first got married, working out was still a priority. When I became a mom of 1, working out was still a priority. Worked out 5 days a week while being pregnant, you know. Had kid number 2, working out was still a priority. Had kid number 3, working out was still a priority. And it's like every season looks different, but it's all about how you adapt and find the time for the things that are important to you. And that's just what it's about. And when it comes to the energy thing, a lot of times I don't have the energy to work out, but it's so important to me that I push past how I feel. And I feel like that's life. You know, we make time for what's important to us. We push past how we feel for the things that are important, because most people daily don't want to go to work, but they have to push past how they feel and go to work, you know? So I look at it as the same with working out. You know, you're not always going to be motivated to get a workout in, but if it's important, you'll get up and do it, you know? So that's what I have to say. It's more about discipline than anything. Just squeezing it in when you can. Start with 10 minutes of a workout, 15 minutes, 20, work your way up. Most of my workouts last about 30 to 45 minutes, and I usually do them when my youngest is taking a nap. Sometimes I do it very early in the morning before all the girls wake up. So it's just really about figuring out what works best for you and making it a priority. So I mentioned this already, that I mentioned wanting my husband to be home with the family more and not work as much. Does that continue to be my goal or our goal as a family? Yes, absolutely. The family is so important to me. Family is so important to my husband. We do not like missing holidays together. We do not like him working 16 hours a day, not seeing him in the morning, not seeing him at night, not having dinner together, not having breakfast together. We don't like it. We don't. So we have another goal to grow this business, content creator, social media marketing. Plan is to grow. And when I say grow, I don't mean it like in following or anything, but more of just this business and it being more profitable, which it has over the years. And we are getting closer to that goal, to get him to leave his job and be home full time, just like myself, you know, and work for ourselves and be entrepreneurs and family business, you know? Someone also asked, what does my husband do for a living? My husband actually works for the sheriff's department. So he works in custody, thank God, because I would never want him out on the streets in this crazy world. But he is a custody assistant. He works in corrections and he has a great job. It's done well for us. He's done it since he was 18 years old. He loves it. You know, he thrives there. I feel like he's where he is supposed to be for now. What curriculum do you use for homeschooling? We use The Good and the Beautiful. Okay, last question. How do you discipline your kids? The controversy. I'm not a physical, corporal punishment type of parent. Have I spanked my kids before? Absolutely. Did I go into it like, yeah, I'm gonna be that type of parent to whoop on my kid? No. Now that my kids are a little older, 4 and 5, I mean, that's not old, but now that they are a lot wiser, they're a lot more mature. I don't know when's the last time I've spanked them, and I don't prefer to spank them. I feel like they're very well behaved kids and they listen to what I say, but I don't feel like all kids are that way. So I'm not for it, nor am I against it. I don't feel like my kids need that. And so I don't do that. Have I popped my little one on the hand for touching something that I said not to touch? Yes, I have. I mean, I feel like if you're a parent, you'd be a lie to say you've never spanked your kids. I don't know. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But it's just one of those things. You go into it saying like that's not your plan, and then it ends up happening. Yeah, I'm neither for it nor against it, but that's kind of where I stand. We mostly do timeouts, or we take away privileges, or yeah. That, you guys, I had tea that I never even drank. My stuff is super cold. Anyways, thank you guys for sending in your questions. I enjoyed creating this video. I feel like Q&As are always very fun. I hope I answered your questions thoroughly. If I didn't, like I said, DM me. We could discuss more over there on Instagram. But thank you guys so much for being here, watching this video. If you're new, definitely subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, like this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.